Hey, Red Earth team, what's happening? This is Matt Ham here. I'm the co-founder of Uprint, a faith and personal development organization. And kind of as we get acclimated and used to each other, just want to let you know we've entered into a partnership with you guys here at Red Earth, helping build a culture of excellence. So one of the roles that I play here is really coming alongside you guys every week to provide some inspiration, some encouragement, and some teaching, motivation, however you want to look at it, to really holistically focus on what it means to be excellence, because excellent organizations are made and built on excellent people. And so we want to help kind of the rising tide that floats all boats here of excellence. We want to engage with you guys in some powerful ways with some powerful content each week to help you do that. So we've been doing Tuesday conference calls at 11 a.m. We've been doing Thursday videos. We do have a text service as well. If you want to email me, that's matt@uprint.life. I'll get you plugged into the text community as well so we can begin communicating there. Just a little bit of encouragement coming right to your devices. Here's the deal. I want to talk today in a little short video about the need for painting your target. Right? Now, last week I talked about kind of the way we can begin each day, and one of those things was painting your target. Now, I want to tie that into what I was talking about on the conference call this week as well. On the conference call this week, we focused on the chaos that exists around us, right? I know the demands that you guys are facing. You've got relationships with your coworkers, you've got relationships with your builders, you've got relationships with your customers, and it seems like all of that's pulling you in different directions. You've got the demands of the end of month, demands of quota, your own personal demands, finances, personal relationships, your own physical, emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being. Oftentimes what happens is people get burnt out because of all of this chaos. But here's why, is they choose to enter into the chaos. And one of the ways that you can prevent yourself from entering into the chaos is begin painting a target and literally begin envisioning the future that you want to step into. And you can understand that you don't have to enter into the chaos from an emotional perspective. Don't let it into your heart, because you're moving in this direction. Now, it's not to say that you don't have to deal with fires. That's not to say that you don't have to deal with difficult relationships, but it keeps you focused on where you're going instead of getting distracted by all of the chaos. Think of it this way. If you had this pathway that you had to walk toward a destination, let's say you're, running running a race or something like that, and you're trying to get the finish line. If on that race you run by a fence, and behind the fence is like a really bad dog, like a Doberman Pinscher, and that dog constantly, is coming at you. The first time you run by, the dog runs out at you. It startles you, and it scares you. And yet as you kind of keep running, the dog kind of gives up. Or if you do it over and over again, in time, the circumstances, the dog, it doesn't frighten you as much anymore. You learn how to focus on your destination, where you're going, and not worry about the dogs of life that are behind the fences that can't really harm us, but they seem to be dangerous. And so I use that metaphor and that analogy because it's really powerful, because so often we're headed in a direction trying to accomplish something, and the dog behind the fence comes at us. And we jump and end up focusing on that, and it's like we're yelling at the dog behind the fence when we don't have to. We can learn not to be swayed by the circumstances, the chaos around us. We might have to deal with a fire, we might have to deal with a relationship, but by having a picture of where you're going, by having a vision, you can actually continue heading in that direction. It's that purpose, that why, that thing that keeps driving you instead of constantly being distracted. So I mentioned this on last week's conference call, but I wanted to go into a little bit further. We call this at Uprint painting your target. Right? Now imagine that you have a blank palette in front of you, an empty slate in front of you, and you could paint whatever it is that you want to on that, and you can. And you begin to envision and kind of paint the life that you would choose. How do you want to spend your days? Everything from, your work environment to the hobbies that you participate in, what you do with your time, kind of your why, your purpose, whether that's your family, whether it's something that you love to do, if you love to travel, if it's some kind of objective that you have of wanting to buy a home, or, there's so many different things. And here's the beauty of it. Your target is your target. You get to define it. Now, organizationally, corporately, there are some defined objectives that we have to meet. But you get to modify that and mold that into who you are and make it a part of your vision, the target that you're painting ahead. So think of it this way. If you are going to do a puzzle, you've got to take the top off of the puzzle box first. And what do we always do? We set the puzzle box up so we can see what it is that we're getting ready to put together. Too often we don't do that with our life. We don't understand the vision of where we're going, and we don't, kind of use that as a marker for the puzzle pieces. So we see puzzle pieces that come into our life, circumstances, difficulties, chaos. That might not even be part of your puzzle, and you don't have to worry with it. Or maybe it's one that you don't have quite figured out yet, but you know that it kind of fits over here because you can see on the puzzle box. So as you begin to navigate your days, think of painting your target like the puzzle box of your life, and understand that your circumstances and the demands of those circumstances, they can all fit within that puzzle. You don't have to solve it today, but just walk at it from more of a peaceful pace. Where this comes from is I love in the Bible where it talks about without a vision, the people perish. It's a really powerful statement. Without a vision, the people perish. You actually have to have a vision before you have provision. Without vision, you cannot have provision. I mean, think about that for a moment. Without vision, you can't have provision. So vision is what leads provision. It's not the other way around. We live in a culture that tells us you've actually got to have provision before you can have a vision. What you guys are doing in the real estate market is actually selling a vision, and then the provision comes. The same is true of your own life. You have to have a vision first, and then the provision comes. So just as you guys paint beautiful pictures of neighborhoods that are going to be developed and homes that are going to be built and families that are going to be spending time on the back porch, grilling out and all this kind of stuff, do that in your own life too. You do it already for your customers because you guys are killing it right now. You're doing awesome. But do it in your own life. Begin to have a vision of the future that you desire and who it is that you are, and then begin to step into that every day. That is what will keep you sustained and keep you encouraged when the chaotic situations are wanting to kind of throw you off. And so, I'll kind of share this, is that the vision is actually seeing the victory ahead of the victory. This is actually going, man, I can see my good future. I can see meeting those sales objectives. I can see stepping my feet into the new home that I want to purchase, or whatever that vision is for your life. Begin to see it, feel it, step into it ahead of it actually happening. And I think you'll find that that is what empowers it to happen. So again, just a short video today to encourage you guys. Without vision, you can't have provision without vision. There you go. Begin to paint your target. Start each day doing that. Visualize it. Think of the puzzle box. Blur the landscape. Don't get worried about the dogs behind the fences and the circumstances. And you guys keep going out there and being awesome. We'll see you soon.